I've been looking for a super lightweight, compact, hiking wildlife tripod that'll take the weight of your big super telephotos and your heavy wildlife photography rigs that also won't break the bank. Well, me too. And I think I found something that I'm super excited about, and hopefully you guys will be too. So let's talk about it. My main two tripods that I've used over the years that work best for me is a Benro carbon fiber tripod that doesn't break down real small, and it's still pretty heavy even though it's carbon fiber, but it's a big, heavy, things don't move on it type of tripod. It's mainly what I use for astro, landscapes, and studio, and lately really it's just really sat in the studio. And the other tripod I use a lot, that's my main hiking rig that's compact, has been the Peak Design travel tripod. This has been a really good tripod, and it's just under 3 pounds, and it folds down really small. If you look at this part, it's about the size of a large water bottle. But what are the cons of this rig? And the first one is, as a current price list of this carbon fiber tripod, it's $650. That's a big con right there for most people. And when I've got my full rig sitting on top of this, the legs will bow a little bit, especially the last section, because I'm running a rig that's about 11 pounds, and if I've got the Atomos on top, plus these heads and stuff, we're talking about 14, 15 pounds, because this head alone is 3.5 pounds, and I think my Benro gimbal is about a half pound lighter than this. At the time, this was the best compact rig and the lightest rig that I could find to go out hiking. And for the most part, it's worked really good, except for, like I said, the legs bow a little bit. I don't like putting a lot of weight on it, and at times it makes me worry a little bit. The next thing is, when I have it fully extended, when you do to throw it over your shoulder, I tend to hold it here at this the biggest leg, not the longer legs down here, because again, it bows a little bit, so it has a little bit of problem there. Now, it does hold the weight of the rig. It just bows a little bit. It's sturdy, but it does have a little bit of flex and give to it. And of course, I'm always looking something better and a cheaper option for the tripod. And that's when I ran across this. It's a tripod from SmallRig. SmallRig makes amazing L brackets, cages, and those type things. And their products have always been top notch. So this is what this really had me intrigued. So real quickly, the stats on this guy. It comes in two models. It comes with a center column, and like this one I bought here has no center column because I don't like center columns on my tripods because they just get more unstable, plus I need to get this thing low. It weighs in at 2.6 pounds with the supplied ball head here, which we'll talk about in a bit. This is about 3 ounces or so lighter than the Peak Design travel tripod. Its max height is 52 inches, which is about an inch higher than Peak Design. Comparing this against the Peak Design, because that's really been the travel hiking tripod that most people have picked up that are really want to spend a little bit of money. Collapsed weight is 21 inches. It's 6 inches longer than the Peak Design. As you can see here, you know, there's the height of the two, so about 6 inches difference, not anything major. The max carry weight, the load that you can put on this is 22 pounds, and the Peak Design is 20 pounds, both really good right there. It's all carbon fiber. It has clip legs, pretty much about like the Peak Design has clip legs also. The Peak Design ones are really small to save space. These feel really good. These guys work really good with gloves too when you're opening them up and closing them, so it's really nice there. So pretty impressive stats right there. Now for the best part of this tripod. This thing is $140. The one with the center column is $150. That's really cool. That's one of the big things about this. Let's talk about the supplied ball head. This thing's pretty unique design. The Peak Design had a unique design one also, but I like this one a little bit better. So as you'll see right here, it has this little clip thing you turn. So when you turn that just a little bit, the ball head, you can set the tension on it real easy, tighter or looser. Really cool design. Now, ball heads. I don't use them. I use them for astro, things like that, but I don't use them for anything else. What we use for wildlife photography is going to be a fluid head, like what's on this Peak Design, or a gimbal head, which we'll show you here in a minute. So what you'll notice when you take the ball head off the Peak Design, you get your standard 3/8 inch little screw head. The Peak Design is a little different. With the Peak Design, you undo this screw here, and the whole center column comes out. For your gimbal, for your ball head, excuse me, that's supplied with it. So if you want to use a different head, you have to buy this adapter plate here, and it's only about $40, not that really expensive. When you put it on, it has a 3/8" screw in the middle. You screw on, but you have to come back here and tighten up 3 screws to really make sure this is attached well. So the thing about the Peak design is you don't change these heads off this base plate really fast because it's kind of a complex process. Undo the screws, twist it off, put your gimbal or whatever on there next, and then tighten these screws down. So it takes a little bit of time to change which type of head you're using. So we won't be talking about this Peak design until we talk about the weight test we're going to do here in a minute on these 2 tripods. So with the SmallRig, it's pretty simple. It's like any other tripod you have. You just thread it on and you're done real quickly. So I can swap the 2 heads out. So the only thing is that fluid head will stay on my Peak design. It'll probably be my roadside tripod going down besides this Peak design. So talking earlier about the Peak design, one thing I didn't want to do when I carry this around is I'd throw it on my shoulder with this leg here. With this one, if I get this on tight enough, that is. When you have the whole thing extended, which we'll do real quick, that's like the Peak design. It's really nice because you can grab them all real fast and get them all unclipped and then clip them all back on, like I'm doing here. But with this one, with my big rig, I don't mind holding it down here in the bottom legs and toss it over my shoulder and carrying it this way. Because these legs, as we're going to see here in a minute, are super stiff. So I'm not always kind of babying that Peak design, like making sure I'm grabbing it here. That's a little more cumbersome in the weight balance. So that's what it is. So we're going to take the big rig and we're going to put it on both of these tripods, and I'll show you the bow that happens on the Peak design, and we'll see if this happens on the SmallRig. So a cool thing about this tripod, before we do the weight test, is this tripod will also break down to a monopod. So the leg that says SmallRig on it, if you just twist it, unscrew it, you now have a monopod. Really, really cool. So you kind of have a 2-in-1 while you're out traveling. So if you're out running around, you just need a monopod, not the tripod. You can just unscrew that across here. And this thing is super, super light. Really, really cool. So that's pretty neat. All right, got the Peak design tripod set up right here. I've got, with the fluid head, the camera, the body, everything, this is about 15 pounds we're putting at the top of this. So let's put this on here and we'll look at the bow and the legs. Well, if I put it on the right way. All right, we're gonna put this on here. Even when I'm setting this up, there's a little touch of bow in these legs. Let's put the on here and look at the bow in these legs. So tighten this down so it doesn't go flying off of here. So automatically when I put this on here, when I set it down, there's bow in that leg. And I'm not exaggerating the bow. I'm just lightly setting this thing down. You can see how it slides out. If I put any weight on this, that leg bows real bad. And that's one thing that's always bugged me about this tripod. It works really good because, like I said, it's really light. I can throw it in a backpack, I can run and go. And it's expensive. But I do have bow in the legs. It does wear me out. So let's get this off this tripod, set it up in the SmallRig, look, see what it looks like as far as how the weight works on this rig. All right, so now we've got the SmallRig set up here with the gimbal head on it. And this is only a ½ ounce difference. This is 14.5 pounds, what we're going to put on top here versus 15 on the other one. So let's slide this in here. So yeah, with the SmallRig, I've got no bow in the legs. I put a little bit of weight on it. Nothing, no weight on it whatsoever. One thing to worry about is how stable is it. The tripod itself, even when I bang it, the legs bounce a little bit, but it recovers really, really quick. So it's really, really nice. So for the weight test, it passes. So what we're doing now is I'm going to run out and take a few pictures with this guy, run this tripod out through the whole day, and at the end of the day we'll talk about it and I'll tell you what I think about this thing at the end of the day. Hey everyone, it's been about a week and a half since I did the first part of this video because I really want to run this tripod through its paces. And if you've watched the last couple videos, this is the tripod you've seen in those videos. Just a quick synopsis, this thing is held up quite well. It really actually surprised me for the price and the lightness of this thing. So like I said earlier, first part of this video, we're always looking for a super light tripod that will hold these rigs. And most of the time when you find a really light rig, it only holds like 10 pounds or 6 pounds or 5 pounds, but this will hold 22 pounds. Great, and it does hold that. It holds all that weight. I'm actually even leaning on this as a post, and it's holding up, not shaking. Really awesome. And one of the reasons I know this is a really, really good tripod is normally with my tripods before I got this one, I would only take them out of the truck or take them in the field when I knew I had to use them. I just had to. There's no other way about it. I needed a tripod for what I was going to do for that day or for that situation. With this tripod, what I've noticed is I take it out whether I need a tripod or not. I just take it out just in case I might need one. And that says a lot about it. It's really good, and I think why I'm taking it out that way is because it feels lighter. The legs are really good and stiff. Doesn't feel like I'm going to tear it up, so if I do need to just lay it down in the snow or drop it in the snow or on the side of the grass or whatever it is, I know I'm not going to tear it up. Unlike the Peak design, when I take it out, I'm kind of always worried that I'm going to tear it up, or it kind of sometimes flexes a little bit, so I'm worried about that tripod. I'm probably more worried about that tripod due to the price of it being that I paid $600 for it versus $140 on this one. So I think that's a little bit in your head too. You know, it's expensive, so you're being a little more gentle with it. But I do believe it's because the way the construction just feels in the hand better and more rigid, more durable in that regard. So a real quick wrap up on this thing about what I think about it. It is fantastic, super light, easy to carry around. The legs are extremely rigid, one of the better rigid super light tripods I've tried. The leg clamps are fantastic. They're big enough, they're large, they're easy to work with the gloves to get them on and off. The legs change, open, and extend extremely flat. It's about 3.5 inches off the ground. Once you've got this on here, you're about 5-6 inches off the ground. Fantastic to get this thing really, really low. Like I said, easy to open and close and set up in the field. The one negative that I have on it, it's really not a negative, just something you need to watch out for, is this leg here that you can turn into a monopod. When you're open and closing or working the clasp and you're grabbing this leg, sometimes you will start to twist it. Right, and then right then I couldn't untwist it. It will start to twist like it's wanting to unscrew. Now the good thing is it takes about 8 or 9 twists to get it out, so you're not going to unscrew it and drop it, but it will be loose. So you need to make sure when you're working this thing that you make sure this leg's tight when you're open and closing, you're changing things or moving it around. So make sure that leg is tight so you don't have a two-legged tripod, which won't work. But other than that, this thing has been phenomenal. I think it's one of the better tech buys I've made in the last couple of years, and especially the best tripod I've found so far. But I will say, yes, this is a definitely recommend buy. I think it's the only thing I've actually said that I would recommend, yeah, go ahead and buy this thing. This tripod is fantastic. It's super light. It holds this huge rig. I mean, this is 15 pounds of rig on top of this tripod. Try that on any other tripod. The Peak will hold it, but it's got problems. If you can find one that's under 2.5 pounds that will hold these large rigs, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to know about it. But this thing's been phenomenal, and for $140, I mean, it's a must buy in my opinion. I'm actually purchasing one, sending it to my uncle, because you know what? He needs this. He needs to enjoy this also. But anyway, you guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, watch the video all the way to the end, please. That helps the algorithm out. And I will see you on the next episode, and there should be a video up here somewhere on the next one to go watch. Take care and go run that shutter.